Today is the December 3rd meeting on Tuesday of the Berlin Board of Health being conducted via Zoom. Any and all parties who wish to participate and/or speak will be allowed that. The meeting is being recorded so that it can be viewed at a later date, and we invite any comments or responses even after the fact. Um, this is all under, prevailing guidance from almost 4 or 5 years ago. So it is part of the law of the land these days. And with that, we'll start with discussion. Um, Lot 2, Linden Street.
Yeah, that's a permit extension request. I don't have the actual request. I know it's in writing. I think Jim had taken it back to my office. Hasn't made
Oh,
it to my
okay.
file yet, but I did speak to the owner. So this permit was issued December 21st, 2021. And Berlin's regs say good for 2 years. So in December of 2023, he asked for an extension, which brought it to December 21st, 2024. Now he's asking for that fourth year that Title V allows, which would
Hmm.
make it December 21st, 2025. And if it's not acted on in that time frame, it would be resubmitted for review and the issuance of a whole new permit. So this would be the last request.
Did
Bill, do
he
you?
give any reason why he needed this additional time?
I haven't seen his written request in writing, but talking to him, he's building a house in Maine, and that's pretty much where his focus has been. And I guess once that's complete, he plan on starting in Berlin. But again, I'll get the request in writing and get it to the board once I find it, or I'll just call him and ask him for another copy.
Do you
Okay.
recall, is this a failed system?
No, this is a new lot, nothing
Oh,
on
it's
it.
a new lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically, the house lot.
Is it Mark Sweeney?
It is Mark Sweeney. It was subdivided off of a larger parcel that had the house that he lived in for many years up on the top of Derby,
Right.
that the top of that hill. So this is a lot that was subdivided off of that. We did additional soil testing, proved a new area. This permit's been. Let's see when the old one was. Yeah, I mean it goes back. 2019 and even earlier. So basically it's been renewed and reissued a number of times. This would be the last renewal for this last permit that's been issued.
Okay.
Okay.
So if
Sounds
the board's good with that, I'll get a copy of that request and I will change the date to 2025.
Okay.
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 Bellevue Road update. I'll share what I know, and that is virtually all the vehicles have been removed. There may be one or two left, and that was as of maybe 2 weeks ago. But the driveway is clear for access to the property. I put the brother in touch with Richard Hanks concerning uh, the possibility, likelihood of approximately 1 year temporary housing being brought in would require connection to the existing septic and the existing potable water. The septic system was pumped and no issues were reported by the company that did the pumping. So the system apparently is in okay shape. Other than that, I don't know anything more about the status of bringing in a trailer or a mobile home or whatever. But that, I know that is the game plan so that the inhabitant of the house in question can basically be living on the property and supposedly helping with the transition that's needed.
Okay.
Paul?
Yes.
I drove by today and all I saw was one pickup truck. I was amazed to see all those vehicles gone.
Yeah.
And do you know, can we get a copy of that pump receipt? Because the owner had told me many years ago that he thought the top of the tank was compromised or cracked. So if we have something from a hauler indicating that, the tank's fine, we'd like to just have that in our file. I don't know if Tom took care of that. Maybe we could ask him for a copy.
Yep, I can do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, each and every one of those cars, the brother emptied them all out, separated the material,
Oh, wow.
brought it to the transfer station, and then the cars went to the big junkyard in the sky up in Coburn.
He must have filled up a few recycling containers at the
Yeah, I
transfer station.
suspect. I mean, that was yeoman work that he did. I couldn't imagine being faced with that, all things considered. My hats off to him for his well, dedication and persistence in getting that done. Because that was a major threshold, being able to get access to the driveways so that
Correct.
the house can be accessed. So,
Yep.
So it's taken a while, but there's been progress there.
Yeah, excuse me.
Okay, 97 Boylston Road, building permit septic tank.
Well, have you have any luck getting a hold of that owner by chance?
What's that?
I think you were going to try to meet the owner out there, that 97 Boylston.
I met him that day, and supposedly Mary sent a letter in to you or to the town or something.
Huh.
And I couldn't open it on the thing, but we got an email about it.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Check for that.
Yes, we did.
Some letter I don't know who they sent it to or what's going on, but I don't know if they had someone. I haven't seen him since then, Billy.
I think I saw it. It's probably.
I was unaware of the email. Take a look for that when I'm in town on Thursday.
Yeah, it's probably at the Board of Health.
Was it an email or was it a letter they sent? Donna.
It was a while ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'll have to look myself, but I couldn't open the email, so I think you sent it out to us.
Okay, then it was an email. If I forwarded it.
Let me just recap this a little bit. This was triggered by some fairly extensive remodeling work going on, and we have had an existing protocol where we look to homeowners to upgrade at least their tank capacity to more current standards when there's substantial financial investment in the renovations. I find this to be a tough and unusual situation. Let me clarify, the existing tank is located within the exterior walls that basically form a C with a concrete retaining wall. So the existing tank, which it's placed in a pocket basically with not a lot of room around it. And at one point in time, it may have been a good idea and may have made a lot of sense. But as time goes on, it's one of those situations where it's kind of biting everybody in the backside in terms of upgrading tank size, because this is not a normal bring in a machine and replace the tank. There's some interesting and fairly serious logistics with this, and I'm a bit reserved, in my opinion, of trying to force this issue in this particular circumstance because it is so unique. It's just not an open field tank replacement. There are a lot of mechanizations and equipment involved to do this one. And I don't know. I'm really kind of on the fence because I appreciate what was done at one point in time with good intent, and now um, it's turned out to be not such a very good idea. Now, I don't like the fact that it's an undersized tank. I don't know if we can do anything about requiring systematic pumping of the tank to help mitigate potential problems there. Um, I'm just kind of throwing this open for discussion. Um, Bobby, I suspect that you've seen the actual site and know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's wires and it's tucked in there. And I was wondering if maybe require a Title V check, Paul, instead of replacing it. If it passed Title V, would that be sufficient, or with the tank that's there?
Well,
Or,
if the system, the system could pass Title Five. I don't know. Title Five inspection would be a good idea.
and they put a
Title
camera in it.
Five, Title Five. If correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, doesn't dictate tank size.
It does not.
It does not, right?
But they could
That
And
is
if it, if,
that is more protocol on our local level.
yeah.
Um,
and if it fails the Title V, they'd be looking at a full upgrade, which I'm sure they're not.
Right. I hear
Then
you.
we won't be talking about a tank. We'll be talking about a full system.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's at least initially maybe the path we should go is that we request a Title Five on the system,
Or pump it.
which will help give us that'll help give us information to move forward with.
Yeah. Well, if they pump the tank, Paul, they could inspect the tank somewhat with their cameras usually, right? Billy, is that how they inspect them a lot? Or?
The camera's not usually needed for a tank, depending on how deep it is. Once it's pumped, it's really a
You can
flashlight and a mirror. They kind of look
yeah,
at the
that's
integrity.
right. Yeah, right, right.
I mean, where this tank is located, it hasn't been subjected to any above ground stress or anything like that from vehicles. It's just a question of the quality of the concrete and is it holding up or is it starting to disintegrate? But I think a Title V inspection is maybe the best next logical step that we pursue on this particular location.
Mhm.
That sounds like a more reasonable approach.
At least step one,
Yeah, yeah,
don't want to make any rash decisions or harsh decisions unnecessarily.
yeah.
It's about doing homework. And as we know, sometimes things take time. Now, that should be a letter that comes from the board. Is that not correct?
Correct. Yeah, I'll draft something up. And I'll
Okay.
take a peek at that email too, just to see what their intentions are. And we'll have both to review it next meeting. Or if that letter's done sooner, I can email it to the board. If it looks good, we'll send it off.
Okay.
My other issue with this, do you think that Richard Hanks, I know what triggers it is the amount of money, but do you think the amount of money should be raised with the, on what triggers it for that rule, Paul?
Yes, and that's a topic for a whole nother conversation. We're not going to go down that road relative to this one particular site. I think we're all in agreement that that needs to be reviewed. Separate discussion, separate time.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, winter's coming. The agenda should be light. We could donate a meeting to kind of discussing finalization of that whole process.
Right. I mean, just briefly, when we've been approached because somebody's putting up a two-car garage at $100,000 or $120,000, it's like it's kind of mind-blowing. I'm a little out of touch with construction costs, obviously, and frankly, I had some conversations with other builders and so forth, and we can thank all of this to really COVID and manufacturers and middlemen really kind of taking advantage of that. At one point in time, you could go to the lumber yard and buy a 12-foot whatever or a 14-foot whatever. Now all you can buy is an 8-foot or 16-foot. And if you want anything in between, you pay for the 16-foot. It's a whole different world out there.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. 39 Walnut Street. I think there's a hallelujah involved here.
There is. The system was installed mid-November. Jim inspected it in my absence. But I think I should say, I'll draft a letter for the board that lists all the paperwork that we need to truly issue a certificate of compliance, because that's truly what's needed to close out a file. Mm-hmm. And Kate might not be aware of all those requirements, so at least if we list them in a letter, she can pursue them. But yes, the system is installed. If you've been by there, it's all graded, backfilled.
Do you know who installed it, Bill?
Al Cormier. I think he's out of, I'm not sure, maybe
Boylston?
Maybe Sterling Boylston, yeah. He's a good installer. Okay. He's done other systems in Berlin, yep.
Okay. Paul Wheeler was using his excavator once.
Okay, yep.
For a smaller job. I think it's Boylston.
So, Bill, you're going to round up the paperwork details that she needs to complete?
I will. I'll review the file and create a letter that just lists the bullet points needed for COC.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Permits, 11 Maynard Road, D-Box.
Yep, that is, again, just for a D-Box replacement. I have to see if we had a Title V on that, or if we're getting one, because I do like to look at that report before we issue a permit. But assuming there's one submitted or one en route, it's a straightforward D-Box permit, which normally I draft and sign for the board.
Okay.
Tobacco sales, BJ's Highland Commons.
Yeah, so that's just they expire October 31st. That would be their again, BJ's is cut in half by the town line. We deal with the tobacco license.
Who sets that date? Is that the state?
I'm not sure where that came from. Joan might know.
That's just an odd date to me.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, our food service permits also expire on October 31st. So I don't know if it's tied to that. It's a good question though, but I don't know the answer.
Well, no answer is really necessary. It's just more out of curiosity, because I'm used to things being on a fiscal year or a calendar.
Correct. Year. Yep.
311 South Street, septic system redesign.
Yep. So that was before the board for a well variance, which was approved.
Oh, yeah.
The new owner was pursuing that well variance, but he also had the engineer redesign the system for 3 bedrooms versus 4 to cut down installation costs. So this, actually, I didn't even think of having the engineer send that over to Sue, but it's the same plan the board approved many months ago for Patricia Wheeler, just with a smaller leach bed. So instead of a 4-bedroom, actually, I got the file here.
And this is the vacant lot between 2 existing houses?
No, this is the existing house closest to the rotary on that project.
Oh, it is. Okay.
You get the big white.
Oh, the little Cape house. Yes.
Yeah, that's 299. This is that smaller house. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
so they get the new well and new septic there, huh?
No, they haven't got their app in yet, but the variance is approved.
Yeah.
Let me just
I saw a new well up by the big White House.
Jim might have addressed that one, but 311's not been permitted yet.
Yeah.
Well, it's either a new well or they put a sanitary cap on it.
Yeah, they might have raised the casing. That's possible.
That may be, because I did see a well company in there about 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, and there was a fracking company and whatever.
Yep. Yeah, so they might have been working on the existing.
Okay.
So basically, the 4-bedroom design the board approved, actually, it was in March of 2024, had a 15-foot wide by 40-foot long leach bed for 4 bedrooms. So all this plan does is make it a 15-foot wide by 30-foot long. So they just chopped 10 feet off the bed. But because it's such a large fill system with groundwater at 32 inches, saving that additional fill made financial sense to the new owner.
Okay.
It's obviously costing money to have this redesigned, but I guess as installer ran the numbers and it was worth doing. So that's what this revised plan shows, just dropping 10 feet off of that bed.
Okay.
So if that's good for the board, I will again draft that new permit under the new owner's name with that bed size revision and sign it for the board.
Okay.
I'm good with that, but I have a stupid question to
No
ask.
questions are stupid.
Oh, mine can be. Why do
I'll
we
call you
need
later,
that?
Sue, and let you know.
I'm sure you will. Why do we need a casing or a candy cane thing over a septic system, leach field?
Vent.
The vent,
Yeah,
the code requires that any time a leach line is longer than 50 feet, they're required on systems that are pumped, because again, a system vents back through the roof vent and the pump chamber breaks that air connection. They have to be vented if they're under driveways. All Presby beds are vented. But they're a good idea, period, on any system, because it gives more oxygen to the system, which is critical for its operation.
Does
So-
it let out methane, Billy, too? If there's methane?
No, again, if it's a gravity system, everything should be going up through the house roof vent, in which case you wouldn't really smell it unless there was some type of downdraft. Pump
Right.
systems, yes, because that water is being forced into the system, and therefore you do have that air coming out of the vent. So sometimes people put those charcoal filters on them if odor is an issue.
Yep.
okay.
Yep. So there's 3 regulatory reasons, 1 technology reason, Presby, but some engineers vent everything. I know Steve Sears, before he retired, he was venting everything, and that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And
But they're
you can.
unsightly.
Well, that's the problem, though. They're easy to hide. People leave them white, paint them black, green, run them through a bush, a tree.
Yeah, really.
There's plenty of ways.
They actually make a fake piece of granite that can
Yeah,
go over them, too,
North
Billy.
Road Septic puts those faux granite posts. I've seen bird baths. I mean, there's plenty of ways to hide them.
Okay.
Yep.
Doesn't mean Christmas all the time, Sue.
People do the red stripe at Christmas time
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to convince me they're not ugly, but
Yeah.
I'll see there's
Oh
a
no,
real.
they are ugly. It's the same thing as roof vents that go through on a new house that has a black roof and the
Yeah.
roof vents are white.
Yep.
I mean,
Spray them.
Right.
about a 4-foot piece of black plastic. People
Okay.
are just so used to doing things a certain way. Anyway,
Right.
359 Randall Road, D-Box.
Yeah, we talked about that last meeting. The board basically approved it last meeting, pending the groundwater determination on the Title V report. And that was done, and it was shown that the system is not in groundwater. So I spoke to the installer today, and he's going to proceed with the work, and I'll draft a permit and sign it for the board.
Okay.
Another tobacco permit, Highland Liquors.
Yep, correct. I think there's 5 total over the past few meetings, so I'll get all of those in a stack for you, Paul, and text you when they're there for signature.
Okay, sounds good. 167 West Street, the D-Box.
Yep, I looked at that today with Paul Wheeler. It was a D-Box that Paul discovered, not as a Title V inspection, but the homeowner was concerned. I guess there was a lot of mole activity in her yard, and we had Paul over to kind of take a look at it. While he was there, she said, "Would you mind digging up the box?" See what it looks like. It was completely decayed. And I'll text you the photo. One of the lines out of the D-Box was about a 6-foot slug of roots, like a 4-inch core.
Oh, wow.
The pipe was full, absolutely full of roots. So luckily they discovered that when they did the D-Box. So they pulled those roots out, put a new box in, and it looked good today.
Is that Roseberry, Bill?
Yep. Ayers, yep.
Yeah. Oh, Ayers. Yeah, Lucy Ayers. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
And a question that's not on the agenda, 120 Lyman Road, again, that an installer that's doing the 359 Randall also has a D-Box to replace at 120 Lyman Road, again, based on a Title V inspection, which we'll have next meeting. If I look at the report and it looks good, we can allow him to move forward. because he's going to be in town and he'd like to do both.
Makes sense.
Okay.
We're getting caught up.
Not me.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this is just one town. Bill has a couple others.
I know.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Okay, Title V, Septic System Inspection Report, 79 Central Street.
Yeah, 79 Central is a pass. Let's get my snack. Yep, 79 Central is a pass.
119 Sawyer Hill Road.
119 Sawyer Hill is a pass, but it has a garbage grinder, so that has to be removed. So we'll do our standard letter.
That's not that horse farm, is it? Green Acres, Green Hills?
Oh, I think this is
It's the old why can't I think of the guy's last name?
Banzel.
The
Nope.
greenhouses?
Nope. Had the tennis court.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Plastridge.
Ledoux.
Plastridge,
Yeah,
now
yeah,
Ledoux, correct. Yep, that's the
The
place.
Plastridge house, yes.
Yep. So we'll send that letter.
They must have put that in during renovations.
Yeah, they did do renovations. They put a new tank in actually years ago at Skip Sawyer. And I know they
Right.
did a lot to the house. Yep.
Has it been that long already?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
remember when we did.
Yeah.
It has been. Actually, I think it mentioned it in the report.
Yeah, because that had like what, a 300 gallon or something, Billy, and another one, a bigger
I'm
one.
not sure. The leach was installed in '57, so yeah, it probably was a small tank. And new tank in 2013. Yep.
That was my
Wow.
first year.
Yeah, wow, I remember.
Right next door to that lovely housing we did, Sue.
Hmm.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So that takes us to 328 Old Central.
Yep.
That is a pass. 24. Nope. 23 Marlboro Road pass. 3234 Autumn Ridge is a pass. And 359 Randall Road is the one we talked about groundwater, but also it has a water filter discharging into the septic system, and that has to be removed. So we'll write a letter to that effect.
Is that because of salt, Billy, or what's it?
It doesn't indicate what they're filtering. Usually it's iron, manganese, that type of stuff. So the backwash function is a bunch of small particles and cannot go into the septic system because it can prematurely seal the leach area.
Okay. It's good to know.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Well, when people balk, I like to at least give them the reason why the code says things, you know?
Yeah.
And I like to ask why, even though you're handsome, it's, I like to know for my own information.
Well, that's how we all learn. Education's the key.
Sure is. All right.
So that's it for me.
Bill, do you have anything else for us, either tonight or on the horizon that we should be thinking about?
I do not. Like
Good.
I say, next meeting, we'll have 97 Boylston. We'll have that email, and I'll have a letter drafted regarding a Title V. Walnut Street, we'll have a list of items needed for sign off. Yep, that's about it for now.
Okay.
Great.
There's still a couple board issues to discuss, but we do not need Bill for those so that we can cut him loose.
Yeah, and we will meet on what is it? The 17th would be
17th. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
All right. We'll plan on that.
All right, Bill. Thank you as usual.
All right. Have a good night.
You
as
too.
well.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Little housekeeping. Don't know if we discussed this last meeting, if I brought it up, but BP's rate proposal begins on January 1 of each year. So I talked with them to get them to change that to be in line with our fiscal year.
Oh, good.
Which he and I went back and forth to establish rates for the first 6 months of 2025 to get us to the fiscal year. And there were increases, but not as much as what they had originally proposed. So our hauling for the next 6 months, beginning January 1, is going to be 170, and our solid waste disposal is going to be 125 versus what they had requested, 135. So there are increases, but they're fundamentally, I'm going to say, approximately 50% of what they had requested. So that's obviously going to impact our budget.
Yeah.
At this point, don't know how much, but when it's going to have to let FinCom know that what we are proposing is going to be subject to change.
What we're up against.
Just circumstances out of our control.
Oh, Donna and I can take a look next Monday on with all the new rates to make sure that we're still in line with what we just submitted.
Okay.
I got your email with the rates on it, Paul. I read through it there. It was pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it's not good.
Next Monday, if you also can, Donna and Sue, I think we have a file. Hopefully, it didn't go down into storage on the history of the transfer station, like when we started the transfer station, and when we stopped using the landfill.
There's not much in storage, but we can go look again.
Okay, it might be in our file cabinets. I don't know. Where I'm coming from on this is I had a lengthy conversation with the
DEP.
head of the solid waste landfill division for DEP a week or so ago. And we're definitely on their radar to do something about our landfill. And, they obviously would like to see us bring it to closure. And it was a good conversation. I found the man reasonable, and said, "Hey, our budget is out the door already, so we're going to have to proceed. We're certainly willing to proceed, but we're going to have to meter our steps to align with what finances we have." And he was fine. He got that. Because we're going to be looking at some monitoring wells.
Okay. Yeah.
We need to hire an engineering firm to do a third-party inspection. And just today, I had a fairly lengthy conversation with an engineer from Ty and Bond who does this kind of work. They have offices all over Massachusetts. I was dealing with the Worcester office. He sent me a rather lengthy text at the end of the day, so I've got to call him tomorrow. Need to try and put some guardrails up about concerning what the first steps will be. Because again, it's financial.
Right.
Even if we do this, even if we start just piecemeal, the first step is going to be several $1,000s.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to be 20 or 30, but I don't know.
Sounds like a
it
capital
could be
project.
3, it could be 7. I don't know. But they are going to be getting back to us with a proposal with some delineation of parameters around that. And then it'll be probably a three-way negotiation between DEP, the town of Berlin, and Ty and Bond in terms of what needs to happen first. How can we schedule it in steps to minimize a big financial hit at any one time? And ultimately, the big financial hit will probably come if we're deemed that we have to officially cap our landfill and all that. But I would say that is probably at least a couple of years down the road. There's got to be a fair amount of information that's pulled together. And in my conversation with DEP, and I reiterated it in an email just to make sure there was a record of it, I expressed to the head of DEP that, Berlin is more than willing to look at our own Jones Road landfill and do what we have to do. But at the same time, it's imperative that DEP starts doing something about the old Hudson landfill, which I feel is much more dangerous to the town than our landfill, because the Hudson landfill was an industrial landfill.
And that was huge.
Industries in Hudson, plating and all sorts of stuff, where who knows what went into that landfill. And I think there are probably more wells around the Hudson landfill than there are around our Jones Road. So I wanted to establish a dual track with DEP that we're going to keep inquiring about their progress with the Hudson one as well as ours.
Good thinking, Paul.
It's ours is vanilla.
Yeah, and it's
really
small scale.
We shut down in '83. There was no industry. We had a population of 2,200 people. Right. We had trenches for garbage, and then refuse was buried in a different spot. And if anybody raises issues about orchards and pesticides and all that, well, Mr. Cotting had his own disposal area for a lot of agricultural waste. Yeah. So I don't think our landfill saw much of that. So
no.
It's about getting some of these details and making sure we position ourselves with DEP that, we want to work. We need to get this done. I understand that, but
Hudson will have
also want updates on what's going on with Hudson, because that's in our geographic proximity.
Right.
We as a Board of Health have responsibility to make sure something happens there.
Yes. Good thinking, Paul. I'm glad. Because we never heard anything from Hudson yet. Everybody, we never really heard any information.
Well, I haven't reached out to them, but they don't volunteer anything.
No, that's what I mean.
I don't even know how that deal came about between Gates Pond Reservoir and Hudson landfill. That predates
they took
all
our
of
water
us.
And give us their trash.
That predates all of us.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think those were the two major things that I wanted to bring up, because they will impact our budget at some point in time. We need to be aware of that. Sue.
Any tidbits that come to either one of you guys, I will be, we have to go in front of FinCom, so I'm going to try to engage Donna. So we have to have something to present to them.
Yep.
So if you have any good ideas, let us know. Oh, and also, I brought the cameras for the transfer station down to the transfer station. I have 2 boxes of cables in my van I'll bring down tomorrow. The cameras do record. It looks like everything's in the box, but I can't climb ladders to install them.
Not according to Stan. We need
A monitor?
and a router. Now, I'm not sure if we can piggyback on what we have down there. But he opened the boxes and started doing some digging, and he said, "Looks like we need a couple other pieces here."
Okay.
Yeah, I don't expect you to go up on the ladder. Stan and I have started talking about placement of the cameras
Yeah.
where we get maximum coverage.
Well, I'll drop the cables off tomorrow. I think I have 200 or 300 feet of cable.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
yeah, when I still had a brain back then, I bought the cameras, I bought the cables too.
Good job, Susan.
Because I think we may want to put a one of those cameras on one of the ways in or out of the transfer station.
Good
Not
idea.
just on the.
Sure.
We want to monitor the traffic to some degree because some could be coming in surreptitiously.
Yeah, there you go.
Damn, I can't
And
sneak in
and
anymore.
and just recent Saturday, I was down there, and while Stan was, or was it Saturday? I guess it was Saturday. And while Stan was doing his thing,
Yeah.
somebody threw a mattress in the open top.
Did
We
you-
have. There's a small handful of residents that are trying to beat us down there.
Yeah.
They're trying to help themselves, I guess. Maybe not, their intent is not to beat us, but their intent is to try and save some money. But
Yeah.
it's costing us because a mattress, Stan and I dug it out, but if it had gone through, it would have been at least a $60 charge.
Yeah.
So,
When we have a dumpster for them, I mean, it's just like you say, it's.
yeah, but people don't want to pay the 35.
Oh, I know. And like I say, Stanley's so busy, he's doing stuff. He's always moving down there. They
Yeah.
sneak in and boom, gone.
Well, that's where I'm hopeful that cameras would be some sort
Yeah.
of detriment.
We'll have to invest in some of those signs that say, "Smile, you are on camera."
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, cameras in use.
There you go.
Wow, thank you.
Don't need to know where.
Last thing, Bobby, what'd you come up with for a list of haulers in town?
Well, I had a list, and my granddaughter took my Jeep and cleaned it for me and lost it. But I got Hughes Trucking, Waste Management, E.L. Harvey. BP, I think, is picking up a little in town, but I'm not sure about it, Paul. I think they have some little containers. And there was another couple companies. I'm going to have to get back to you on them. But she thought I had it on the back of an envelope. She was cleaning my Jeep for me. I'm like, thanks, hon.
A back of an envelope's not the most official looking document, so
No, well, I didn't get after it too bad, but I said I can remember them all, and now there's 2 or 3 more, Paul, of different names.
Well,
the Hughes. Go
Can
ahead.
you
Sue.
get them to email them to the office so that, because we wanted to get those out for the first of the year.
I'll try. Yeah, and I didn't. I should have wrote down. Most of them have a phone number on them, so we could get a hold of the company. I didn't write those phone numbers down off the containers. I just looked at the names driving by, And
But I've got a lot of the addresses.
oh, you do?
From yeah, because they're in Stowe too.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have an outlier. There's a company from Pennsylvania picking up in town.
A big red trucks, Paul. Those are the
Yeah.
red ones. Yeah.
Blazinski Disposal.
Is that what it says on? That's another one. Blazinski.
I ran into them today and got their phone number down. I did check. I Googled them, and they're in Pennsylvania. And I think they bought out Mr. Trashman because that's who I saw them picking up.
Okay.
So that Hughes company sold. I see. Yeah, Mr. Trash.
I don't know anything about Hughes, but Mr. Trashman, whoever
Yeah.
owns that or whatever.
Okay.
They were servicing his containers.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I saw the red
So
truck.
I'm gonna call them and see what I can find out and get the appropriate mailing address and so forth. I don't know if they're establishing an office up here or if they're
Yeah.
winging it, trying to edge into the marketplace up here.
Right. Well,
There's money in solid waste, so people There are
Well, I don't
aggressive
know what-
businesses out there.
But I can't. I mean, for pickup, it's got to be at least $10 a week or more, Paul. For for trash pickup.
I think the average
these-
curbside pickup is somewhere in the vicinity of $700 a year.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's so our deal isn't too bad.
Anyway, all right,
I'll-
I don't have anything else. Anybody
I'll try to
else?
get that to you.
No,
No,
No.
everything.
John, I hope we didn't bore you too much.
The
John,
truck,
you there?
they just pulled a truck out of the ditch across the street, Paul. They were coming from the other way. The kid, one of the RBL landscaping trucks, he missed the driveway and rolled the truck right on its roof in the ditch right across the street into my driveway. Right on its roof. They had Ricky's towing come over, pick it up, flip it back on its wheels.
Well, that'll be in the news tomorrow.
Oh,
all right.
probably.
I am
Yeah.
here. And no, so you
Anybody
didn't
has
bore me.
anything else
Good.
relative to business?
Nobody got hurt. Oh.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I
All
would
right,
se-
Sue?
I would second that.
Okay, all in favor, we'll do a roll call. I'll say aye. Sue,
Aye.
Bobby,
All right.
meeting is so adjourned.